it was definitely not like a creatine type thing. It was not like it works.
Yeah.
It was like this definitely works. Like it was.
What is up, guys? It is Landon back with the Ever Talk podcast.
Brandon back.
And on today's episode, we have a very special guest, Mr. Taylor, aka Jack Jeans.
Burriss.
Taylor Burriss, the owner of Jack Jeans. And in this episode, we talk a lot about fitness, bodybuilding, how to get shredded, how to get
We did, bro. He gives you the cheat codes.
and how to gain some extra secrets that other people don't know in the gym. So it was a very good episode. I hope you guys enjoy it. And
There's just like pros and cons that I would look at certain exercises. And I think anybody that's like, you'd be like, oh, I like this about this. I like this about this one, And then there's going to be certain exercises where you're like, man, like I like almost everything from this exercise.
Yeah.
And then there's going to be certain exercises where you're like, I almost don't like anything about this exercise. So you got like some in the middle and then some on like the top tier, like this is the cream of the crop, and then you got some that are like, I almost can't. Yeah, exactly. I like to stretch on this one, but I can't get very deep. My elbow's very deep on this row, so I don't really like that part that much. But this or that. Like I like the fact that this one's chest supported. I like but honestly, man, like a T-bar, like a standing T-bar row. This is just my opinion. Standing T-bar row is probably like one of the only like textbook, I guess you could say, exercises where it's like, I don't do it because to me it's like got like all the bad what I was just talking about, like all the bad things that I can think of that's in a row. A T-bar row has all those bad things. It's like it's not chest supported. It's not you're doing it with the D handle, which is going to limit you in here. You can only get your elbows back like this far
from fully stretched.
Yeah, exactly. Like even like if you're gonna bend over and do just grab a regular bar, but just do a bent row, and you'll be like instead of like having this D handle where you're right here, you're gonna be right here. Yeah, that's way more range. Even though some of the research is now showing that like the stretch part of the range is better than the contracted part. So who knows? Maybe it's not as bad, but like even then, like I can think of a better stretched form of a row to do than to do T-bar. And honestly, like I don't really think you need like a crazy amount of variations. Like if you want to get big, like. Dude, look at some of the best physiques ever built. Those guys did the same freaking exercises for a long time. Yes, consistency. Yes, because it's more important to just apply consistency and track what you're doing and understand like how your body is responding to certain levels of volume. Like just to understand like if you're recovering on time and things like that, rather than like moving around a bunch and doing a bunch of random stuff, and then it's like if you do bent rows this Monday, and the next Monday you do T-bar rows, and then the next week you do freaking dumbbell rows, and then by the time you get back to like your freaking I think we started out with bent rows, right? But by the time you get back to freaking bent rows, you're like, what was I using again? I don't even know. Like, what did my form look like? I don't even remember. Like, it's like maybe you got a lot weaker because you're doing way too much volume, or maybe you're not doing enough, or it's just like you have no clue. It'd be like you trying to do your diet and like weighing yourself at different times of the day, and also with like different clothes on.
Yeah, with your phone in your pocket.
Like it's with your phone. Yeah. It's just like changing all these variables up, and it's just like, I guess I'm losing weight, like, or I guess I'm gaining weight. It's just like you don't really know what's going on. It's just like, in my opinion, training should be about like the consistency aspect. Probably first and foremost. That's probably one of the most important things.
Rather than like switching everything up and stuff.
Yeah, switching everything up. Yeah, all the time. Which is funny because that's like back in like 2012, whenever I was like first getting into like training hard, like it was like all the rage. Switch it up, bro. Like switch it up, bro. Like
shock
don't
the
muscle, bro.
Yeah.
It's like bro, you gotta confuse the muscle, baby. Yeah. It's just like what? Like I want my muscle to know like what I'm doing, and yes, because I want it to make it. It's like the funny thing is like people used to say, well, you don't want your muscle to adapt, bro. It's like. Actually, I do. It's like actually, I do. I want it to get bigger and stronger. Yes, I do. I do want my muscles to adapt, but yours don't have to. But I would like mine to get bigger and stronger.
Dude, that's funny. I've never heard that.
That like somebody else said that to me before. Like not to me because I said that, but somebody else said I was just a bystander in a conversation, and I heard that, and I was like. Yes, I was like, like why would you not want to respond to training?
Adapt to it for real.
Yeah, I don't understand.
How long do you think somebody should be on the same split for? Because I know some people change your split like every week.
Bullshit,
dude. Yeah, that's real stupid. I like for one, I mean, I'll say like the same split. I mean, there are some people that have a logical way to increase their volume via frequency. Mm-hmm. So let's say you take a mesocycle of training, whether it's how many ever weeks you make your mesocycle, 3 to 7 weeks or whatever you're doing, and you're doing like a push-pull leg split or something like that. So you're hitting everything twice a week with one off day per week. So if you're hitting everything twice per week, you're allocating a certain amount of volume per push day. Let's just say like on average you're hitting like 8 sets of chest on Monday and 8 sets of chest on Thursday. Okay, there are people that will take, I think this is a pretty sound approach. They'll go they'll do a training cycle, deload, then come back, and then to overload, what they do is they increase the frequency from like, instead of Monday and Thursday, they go Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah, so they're just adding a day, and honestly, a lot of times the third day that they're adding is not anything crazy. It's usually like three sets of machine flies. I wouldn't even call it. I don't want to call things pump work now, because a lot of people will be like, "Oh, just pump work," and they use it as an excuse to train not hard. It's like, dude, if the training's not hard,
just get a pump,
dude. Yeah, it's just like, I mean, you can get a pump and not train hard. Yeah, it's like, yeah, you should always be training hard. If you feel like if you can't train hard on a day where you are scheduled to train, then you must have done too much volume the prior session or something. It's just like, I don't know what to say. You didn't recover on time. Now, granted, a lot of times you gotta basically dig down and ask yourself, like sometimes, like, Am I just being a little am I being a little bitch right now, or like it's time to strap it on sometimes, because a lot of people will think, this is my opinion as well, and I have some scientific reasons to back this up as well. Let's say you train chest on Monday. Let's say you go to train it again on Wednesday. Most people immediately are like closed-minded to that. Like, that's not nearly enough recovery time, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it's like, okay, well, number one, what if you feel good? But also, what if you do feel sore? Let's just say you feel sore. And let's say you start warming up. And then you're like, okay, like I don't feel, quite so bad, And then whenever you go to like do your first set, because this has happened to me many a times, break a PR while you're sore.
Oh, really?
While you're sore. Yeah, it's like, dude, I know I recovered on time. Like I don't have to necessarily like there doesn't have to necessarily be no muscle damage or whatever to
why do you think you're sore then?
Yeah, you're still dealing with some type of muscle damage. I mean, on some level. I'm not saying to be like if you're destroyed, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, a lot of people, like, if there's any resemblance of soreness, and they're like, oh nope, you know, which is you can't. I will say this though, you can't go wrong with that approach. Probably like to take another rest day is not like
super bad thing.
No, it's not a super bad thing, but like also if you never test your body, like there was one summer where where I was like, it was kind of like a fuck around and find out thing. Like I was just like, I'm gonna see what I can recover from, and that was the most amount of mass I ever cut. Yes.
Is that when you were doing? You were training?
I was training at one of my buddy's gyms, and it was just it was during COVID.
Oh yeah.
And it was pretty much the only thing that I had like going on pretty much at the time. Yeah. I hadn't started the company yet. I was still, you know, working for a family business that, you know, I was still working, but to me, like doing what I do now versus doing what I used to do is just like, it's so night and day different. I can't even tell you, like, this is so demanding for me now in comparison to then that, you know, training was like the thing I looked forward to back then. And I mean, whenever work slowed down even more, like it was like I looked forward to training that much more every day. Whenever I woke up and stuff, it was just like, plus it was like probably the first time I was ever getting like truly lean and truly like started to look pretty decent. And I was just kind of like, I kind of like had the approach of like, let's see how much I can recover from. You know, and I was training everything 3 times a week. Yes, like hard.
What split were you on? Like
just as like, it was basically like a modified version of upper lower. If you could think like certain exercises were like you know, if you hit chest 3 times a week, it wasn't like chest 3 times a week like just getting obliterated. It was more so like chest hard on Monday. Wednesday was kind of like 4 sets of like 10 on a Smith machine press, and then Friday was still like I'm destroying it. You know, like so Monday and Friday were like I was destroying myself. Yes, and then in that particular muscle group, there's like there was just like fluctuations on each day. I would say I was hitting or emphasizing one muscle group, and then another muscle group might be on the back burner, which pretty much goes for any split, any.
No, that sounds very good.
What now? That was on a cut too. Yeah. And I maintained almost all my strength, and I got down lower than I had been. There was a brief amount of time where I started to drop strength at the tail end, but I was getting pretty dang lean.
Burnout.
Yeah, I was getting pretty lean. And I mean that's just gonna happen. Now that I've since been leaner than that, but that was the most amount of mass I held while cutting, I would say. And it was the time, and honestly, the times where I have like put on the most amount of mass also were whenever I was just training like absurdly hard. Like anybody would be like, dude, that's way too much, you know. And I'm, you know, like funny thing enough is everybody be like, well, you know, maybe your sets don't look that hard. I'm like, my sets usually look harder than yours. Like it's like I've watched you train. My sets look harder than yours.
I know your leg press sets, bro.
If you're not yelling, then what are you doing? You know. But I mean, I have. The reason why though, I was training. I was making sure on that cut that I was training like the effort level on all the sets were that hard because I wanted to find out. Like I wanted to know. Like I wanted to know like, you know, what can you recover from? Like because there was some stuff in the data like back then that were saying like, you know, anywhere from 4 to 12 sets is beneficial, and you know, dose dependent relationship, volume has a dose dependent relationship, which is still true. Contrary to like I've seen so much stuff like on whatever I'm scrolling around nowadays, I've heard so much stuff and it's talking about like they'll be talking about like you know Mike Mincer had this right all along. Like, you should only do one set. Like, all the studies are saying this. I'm like, dude, I am a freaking nerd, and I have not heard like I can point to you like at least 20 studies where multiple set protocols are better than single set ones. It's like it's not even close. It's not even
fun either.
Yeah,
it's
one set.
It's really not. To me, it's not fun. It's not like, I love training.
Gosh, shoot, that is.
Do you need to check your thing?
Oh no, it's good because remember it stopped. So it's good. Okay.
But yeah, it's but anywhere from like 4 to 12 sets was basically being shown pretty consistently in the data.
Per exercise?
No, not per exercise. Per muscle per session.
Yeah.
So like on average, like 8 sets of chest per session, like they were saying is like a good dose, but also like up to 12, which is a lot, you know.
What do you do?
12. Like I would start out the way I would start out somebody is like, you know, like I said, the volume is kind of it's a dose dependent relationship with how much growth you're going to get.
Your spawn,
Yeah, exactly. So I'm usually gonna start out at the bottom end of that range, whatever it is for, you know,
so like
you should be calculating, like, you know, using your feedback from your body as a proxy. So like where you start to make progress, where you start to like even things like how many sets do you feel a pump at? When do you start to feel a pump? When do you start to feel sore the next day?
Do you write all that down?
I don't usually.
Like
I keep it in my head, but you can write it down.
I have a book.
I used to write that type of stuff down. I used to be a lot more, but now I've been doing it for so long. I think I started doing it about 2018.
Yeah.
So I should look at it a lot more and make sure I'm keeping, you know, track of what's going on, because things change as you. Things change as you keep on training, for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Stronger.
So yeah, I mean it's like it's a dose dependent relationship, and also the other thing that's interesting with volume is that it's not only a dose dependent relationship, but it is like a drug in the sense of you become more accustomed to it over time. So like, for example, if you start out doing a training cycle, and let's just say you hang out in the middle of that range. Let's just say you hit like 8 sets of chest, 8 sets of chest, 8 sets of chest, 8 sets of chest over and over and over and over and over every single chest day. You will probably start out that training cycle with like an incredible pump. You'll be like, oh my gosh, like, especially if you went after a deload week, like if you took it easy for a week and you come back, you're gonna feel freaking fantastic. And then the next week, you're gonna feel stronger. You're gonna feel like probably more full, you know, or whatever it is. And also like but the thing is though, is if you go back to repeat that 8 sets, your pump might not be as incredible. Yeah. You know, it might be like, oh, it's still there. Then by the 3rd week, it's going to be like, I'm not really that pumped. Yeah. But whereas if you take approach like, we're going to start out with the minimum effective dose. So let's start out with 6 sets instead of 8. Yeah. We're going to start out with 6 sets instead of 8. We're going to ramp it up to 7 the next week, 8 the next week, 9 the next week, 10 the next week. You have something to build with that you can still recover from. Because if you start out like on your high end, let's say you start at 10 and your maximum recoverable volume is like 12. Well, if you start out at 10, you're going to have a great first session. Yeah. You're going to feel immaculate. You know, your chest is going to freaking be like popping you in the chin. You know, you're probably going to see great growth from that session, but it's like, dude, you're not going to see growth from one session anyways. Yeah. You're going to see growth from stringing sessions together. You know, over the course of weeks is how you're going to see like more sustained growth. So we want to see like an increase in volume like steadily. It's the same. It's funny enough. The same thing goes with powerlifting. Is like the volume is what causes and also the literal jumps in volume is how you keep the response to keep on being the same over and over. Now, granted, there's going to be little fluctuations, but you attempt to try to keep it the same by increasing the volume just by little bit by little bit by little bit. The other thing is like, I was going to say about powerlifting. Powerlifting is the other way around. It's not the volume. It's not the basically allocating like just hard sets into your session. It is more so just about like basically the number on the bar of the weight.
Oh really?
Oh
yeah. But I mean it's like that. But the funny thing is like that's the goal, is to get the weight on the bar higher. But also that's the literal stimulus. Okay, so what I'm saying is like if you take guy A versus guy B, you got a guy, and let's just say they're twins, and their maxes are freaking identical. Yeah. Just for the conversation's sake.
Twins.
So yeah, trim twins. So you got guy A is they both have like a 1 rep max on their squat of like 330 pounds. We're just gonna call it that. Guy A starts out at let's just say he starts out at 310. Then he goes to 320. Then the third week he goes to 330, which was his old max. And then the last week he tries to hit like a 340. Yeah. Okay. Then you got guy B. Like he just hits like just take the average of those two. Those two should be about 320, right? He just hits 320, 320, 320, 320. The same. They both train the same amount of weeks, but the guy who will be, there's been literally studies done on this. The guy that is doing the jumps will gain more strength. Yes.
Than the guy that's staying the same.
Than the guy that stays the same. Yeah. And honestly, this is actually the craziest. This is the craziest thing with it. If you take a guy that goes. There's been studies done like this too, like 300, 310, 320, 340. Let's say the other guy, he does the opposite. Let's say he goes down. He goes down 340, 330, 320, 300. They have seen the guy that decreases his weight on the bar. They've seen those guys get weaker.
Oh really?
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, it's like it's one of those things where it's like if you're training, I mean, if you're training within your capacity, it's like you would think almost you're like, well, I wouldn't think you would get weaker. Yeah. Maybe you wouldn't get as good of results as this guy, but these guys actually got weaker because their stimulus is going down. And
they're starting with that heavy weight.
Yes, they're starting with the heavy weight and they're going down. They're literally getting weaker.
And like so
the funny thing is like people like with bodybuilding stuff is they get so focused on numbers that they're like, bro, you just got to get stronger, bro. It's like, dude, if that were the case, we would all just train like powerlifters.
Sure. Yeah.
Because they're strong. Like, and it's like, well, 1 rep max strength is different or specific to powerlifting and da 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 da. It's like, dude, I guarantee whenever I was powerlifting, if I put whatever it was on the bar, 10 rep max or whatever, I could rep the crap out of it more than I can right now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because I know, for one, it's just like it's just the way you move the weight. I don't have that kind of skill anymore to be able to like move. There's like a certain like rebound level that you need to be squatting to. Like you find things out by doing stuff. Like whenever you're squatting 3 times a week, you keep that groove, of how to squat and stuff. It's a certain technique to it, but also it's just like you get more just. You get better, and you just the more you practice your movement, you get stronger. Yeah. It's just a matter of fact. But the main thing is though, from a volume, intensity, frequency standpoint, if you increase the weight on the bar, you're going to get stronger even if your reps decrease. And I mean that's old. Oh, really? Yeah, that's old school power. That's like old school. That's the way they used to. That's the way they used to do periodization, pretty much. And some guys still use that, and it works. And the reason why it works is because like if they start they'll have like a 5-week program, let's just say, and they go from like literally they just keep the reps the same numbers as the weeks. So they'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Really?
And all they just go up in weight.
And they get stronger.
They just get stronger. Yeah, because they're just using more and more weight. Huh. Like it's not any more demand. It's usually less demanding on their body at the end. Yeah. Which is also the other thing that's good about that is as you're getting stronger, the stimulus is getting stronger. You're also dropping fatigue at the exact same time. Yeah. So you're feeling less fatigue. And you're putting more weight on the bar.
Dang, so each week you get stronger.
So you're getting like a kind of a compounding effect from doing that. That's the reason why there are plenty of guys that still train like that.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. So are you asking in terms of bodybuilding or are you asking in terms of powerlifting?
Bodybuilding.
Yeah. I mean, put it this way. I don't think that the weight. I mean, the weight matters as a byproduct for bodybuilding, but not necessarily as it's not the main deal for sure. Yeah. For sure, it's like allocating hard sets is what matters for bodybuilding. Oh, yeah. It doesn't matter like what the freaking weight was on the bar the weight should just be a tool. It's going to get you to fail, or get close to failure. I'm not saying you got to train to failure, but I'm saying you have to train close to failure. You have to train hard. So I would want to fail, like if for example, if my target rep range for a certain exercise is like 10 to 15, I want a weight that's going to make me fail around that 10 to 15 mark. If it's not, like, let's say I do a set of 17 and I'm like, stop, and I had like 2 reps left at the tank, like I could have got 19 if I had a gun to my head. It's like, okay, well then we're gonna put a little bump in weight to make me fail at the proper range. So but it's not like you should attach yourself to like, yeah, bro. Like it's just it's like it really shouldn't be like that. And the faster that you can like detach yourself from that level of thinking, the faster you're gonna grow. Yeah. I'm telling you, it is like whenever I used to powerlift and I used to do that hybrid stuff, I used to think like the more weight that I can do for like a single will carry over to more that I can do on my 5 rep max, on my 7 rep max, on my 9 rep max, which is what we thought built muscle. Like we literally thought what built muscle was like PRing in those rep ranges that contribute to muscle growth by like the textbook standards. So like you're 6 to 12, you're like, oh bro, like if I can bench so and so for 10 reps, like, and I do more than that in the future, then like that made me bigger. It's like that actually is not that actually should happen over time. As a result of effective training, it should happen over time. But that isn't what you're after. Yeah. Does that make sense? It's like that. If you're training hard and you're recovering on time, yes, your 10 rep max should go up. Yeah. But that's not the actual hard training. Is what makes it happen. It's through mechanical tension, and mechanical tension is not. A lot of people who hear like mechanical tension, and I think they think either one or two things, which in my opinion is both of them are wrong. So they think mechanical tension means, because a lot of people are saying this right now. It's a very
tension on the muscle.
Yeah. I've just heard it over and over in reels and stuff, and I can tell like people don't understand what mechanical tension actually means. It is deceiving. Whenever I first heard it, like years ago, I thought the same thing. I either thought mechanical tension, like how much weight you're putting on something, or B, I thought like my muscle connection, how much you're squeezing a muscle, how much tension you're putting on a muscle. Oh yeah. Both make sense, yeah. But that's not what it's talking about. What mechanical tension means is the involuntary slowing down of the contraction. Yeah. So like if you're on a bench press, just to say for example, and you get to those reps where like you try to forcefully contract and make that bar move quickly, and it just slows down. Slower. That is mechanical tension.
That's good.
That's
a huge difference for going slow in the contraction than like.
Well, I'm not talking about
like going slow.
Voluntarily going slow. I'm talking about involuntarily going slow, meaning You're trying to move the weight. That's the reason why training to failure is all the rage right now. Yeah. Is because it's like people are talking about the last 5 repetitions before muscle growth are the ones that make you grow.
Is that true?
Because the concept of effective reps, yes, it is pretty true.
Just the last
5.
Like the last 5 before failure are pretty much going to make you grow. So if you take a set to failure, like if you record a set to failure and you just look at the last 5, just understand that those 5 are probably what's making you grow.
Do you think the last 5 are the mechanical tension?
Yeah, that's what you're experiencing during that set. And it's like it used to be thought like, oh, we get stressed through 3 pathways. Mechanical tension, which was always thought to be number 1, but also metabolic stress and cell swelling. And there are some people now that do think that it's possibly only mechanical tension. Yeah. But I still think metabolic stress and cell swelling could definitely play a role. Yeah, I think so. I think we don't have much figured out about muscle growth, right? I mean, we have some things figured out, and have been further than we've ever been. Yeah. But like, there's still a lot of things that we don't know. Yeah. The things that I don't know at all.
I farted. No. Going back. What would you say? The Mike Mincer ideas? Is that mechanical tension or Mike Mincer?
Yeah, bro eats ants for his workout or something.
What? You ever heard of that? Bro, did you see? I saw a video when Arnold won. When Arnold came back from acting and won like the 1981 Olympia, I think. Mm-hmm. Apparently, Frank Zane and Mike Mincer threw their trophies on the ground and broke them.
Really?
Yeah, because he got I think Mike got 2nd or 3rd. Right. Apparently they were pissed.
He looks ass. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Mike?
Yeah, bro, it's just too small. I look better than him.
So dude, for sure.
I'm for real, bro. He was bad.
What a bitch.
Yeah. I'm just kidding.
That's crazy. Nah, Mike for sure had a great physique. Yeah. But I will say this though, like he had some things, like he had some concepts and stuff back then that were pretty revolutionary and contributed to like where we are today.
Like Dorian.
Yeah.
Dorian right.
Mm-hmm. He said
like really find his new training or something.
Dorian
which I mean, Arthur Jones came up with that in the first place. Yeah. So all the high intensity principles, it was like Arthur Jones came first, Mike Mincer came up and picked up. It kind of like, went off some stuff that he went off of, and then Dorian came after and kind of like made up his own tradition. Basically, these are all forms of high intensity for training, which was basically like training to failure is basically what they came up with, and a lot of it was using machines because they thought that they could push harder
on a machine.
Yeah, and they also thought that they could take failure to a more extreme level with the machines easier by like force reps and then doing like negatives and
I think I saw
and things like that.
I don't know if it's Dorian, but I saw videos. I think it was Dorian, where he said he never trained like squat, like free weight legs.
Like, right.
And never squatted. He just did machine legs.
Yeah. It's not needed. I mean, for sure. So, a lot of people still feel like it's their best. Yeah, it's their best mass builder, but
Tom Platz.
Tom Platz to be one of them. Yeah, I don't know. I grew, my legs grew well from squatting, but also I have short femurs. So
what's that?
Like your upper leg here. Like it just depends on how your body makeup will determine on if you can squat well or not. Like some people who have long femurs, they can't remain upright enough in the squat to get deep enough to get enough quad stretch. So they can't grow their quads well from barbell squatting. Yeah. So they have to they'll be like, oh my gosh, I feel leg pressing and hack squatting. Like if you get off one of those and you're crazy pumped, and you can do barbell squats and never experience a quad pump. It's like, well, rest assured.
I think that's me.
Yeah, honestly, very, very well could. There's a lot of people. I would say for a lot of people, hack squats and leg presses are gonna line up better.
I can do hack squat with no weight on it, get a pump.
Yeah. I know. Yeah,
it's hard, dude.
I mean, the same thing goes for me in benching. I know a lot of people love to bench. I love to bench. Like the act of benching is fun.
Oh yeah.
But like in terms of getting a chest pump, like I don't know. I'm getting better at it, but like I've also been training for 10 years.
Yeah.
You know.
Dude, I'm just thinking about benching. You said benching's fun. Like that. You said that deadlift competition on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
A bench off would be cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah. If you could get that going on, but the thing is about deadlift party is you don't have to bring anything.
Yeah. No, you just gotta bring
the weights
and the barbell. Ooh.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool.
But I forgot where we. Oh, about the Mike Mincer stuff.
Oh yeah.
I would say that he had some like, he definitely, you know, made people think in a way, because he was like, hey guys, apparently it's not, if I can get these kind of results in like 20 minutes a day,
yeah,
then, you know, if I can sit up here and get the same results, apparently the you know, the workload is not the key.
Yeah.
You know, which is, it is true in a way, because it's like you can do back when, if you look at any of old Arnold's books or anything like that, he will say like, I did 5 sets of 10 on this, but he didn't say how hard the sets were. Mm-hmm. He also didn't say like whether or not there were warm-ups. And if you go back and actually watch a lot of people train, like if they say they did 5 sets also included their like if they benched and they did 135, 225 for a warm-up or something like that, because those guys are crazy strong as well. So if they're like 135 for a warm-up, 225 for a warm-up, 315 for maybe their first working set, well, that was their third set. So like that was their third set. So really they only did 3 sets of bench.
Oh really?
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, I guess you could say, you know, he is right in terms of, you know, the sets have to be a certain level of hard to start out with. They have to be hard enough. You can't you can't get huge lifting a piece of paper. Yeah. Okay, that was a set. Like, you know, like it has to, it can't just be volume. It has to be hard volume. Yeah. Is what people have.
Combination of
yes, it has to be hard. It has to be hard enough. Yeah. It has to be hard enough. But there are people that have built great physiques not doing very much volume, but because they were doing like one hard set. Yeah. You know, it was enough stimulus.
Dang. Just one set is crazy, I think.
It is crazy. But you know, that is more the key than volume is. But the thing is, though, that also doesn't make volume not an important contributor. It's still very important. It's used to be it is the most important out of, you know, the big 3 that make up, you know, programming, which is volume, intensity, frequency. That volume is the most important. Now we know that, you know, not intensity. Intensity is weight on the bar. Relative intensity is how hard you push a set. Yeah. So how many reps are left in the tank? So if you hear intensity in a literature, if you hear it in the literature, it means weight on the bar. So that's something that people often get like kind of confused as well. Yeah, because it makes sense. It's like intensity is like, how intense is the workout? It's like, actually no. Usually is how heavy, and honestly the heavier stuff, you know, usually feels less intense than like if you do like a 20 rep max on, you know, leg presses or squats or whatever you're doing, you're like, that was intense. It's like, actually in terms of the literature, this is not intense. But you know, all these terms are like relevant, or just very relevant. So you just gotta know what, I guess, people are saying sometimes. But I guess he had some things that would. I guess he had some things that would contribute. Mike's Muscle Gym. Yeah, I used to follow all his stuff.
Oh, really?
Whenever I was like 21, bro, I used to love Mike Mincer. And then I like started to get into, I read one time about like how multiple set protocols were just like greatly superior to single set. And I've been doing single set protocols for like 3 months, right? And I also felt like I wasn't growing as fast. No, not nearly as fast. And I was like, that's why whenever people like say that they're, oh, dude, I'm growing so much faster on the single set stuff. I'm like, dude, you changed something else. Yeah. You started adding a lot more food or you added drugs.
Yeah, steroids.
No, that works. Or
more sleep.
Or maybe just like your sets on higher volume were just not very hard.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of people don't have the capacity to train like pretty hard for like 5 sets of squats.
Yeah.
That's pretty
like 20
hard.
pounds.
That's hard, you know. So
Yeah, dude, that's good. I first got into Arnold. Like, I thought Arnold was the greatest bodybuilder of all time. He was my first favorite bodybuilder. But there's a video of him saying that in his off season, he went to the gym 1 day a week and did like 6 reps, high intensity. Him saying he did that in his off season, but when he was getting ready for a show, he did crazy amount of volume.
Huh.
You think changing it like that, like from alternating low volume, high intensity to that does anything?
It does do something, but I wouldn't do it that way. Like, again, I would just look. The smartest way I've ever had volume explained to me, this was really smart. I was like, whenever this guy explained it, I guess probably because I was 25 at the time, and I had just went through a partying phase. I was still in a partying phase when I was 25. But basically the way he described it to me was, he was like, volume is like if you took somebody under your wing, they just turned 21, and you were going to show that, like, you were going to take them out like to drink. Yeah. He was like, how are you going to start
them off drinking?
How are you going to start them off drinking? He was like, are you going to start them out doing like, 10 beers? I mean, it's like, I guess you can if you just want to watch them like puke on the side of the road. Like, if you want to be like, I guess you can. He was like, but if you were actually out for their best interest, he was like, how would you do it? And I was like, probably starting out like 3 beers. He goes, yes. He's like, you start them out with like the amount of beer that it would take to, get you feeling a little like maybe feeling something, but not anything crazy. And then and then you would like kind of like work your way up slowly but surely. And there's certain things that you would just stay away from, right? You wouldn't give a guy, like, even in his first, like, if you really wanted to, you wouldn't give a guy probably in his first month even like a shot. Yeah. There's no need to. He's gonna feel fine on like 4 or 5 beers.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Like, he's gonna be fine. You don't want to have him wake up the next morning and feel like
bad,
shit. Yeah. Just the same way, like, if you do too much volume, well, if you have a chest workout on Monday, then you have one on Thursday. Well, we're trying to recover by Thursday. Mm-hmm. Like, there's no need to trash yourself and feel like shit, and then not be able to train. Not be able to train on Thursday. We're trying to train both. As hard as we possibly can. Yeah. And still recover and still make good progress. Also, there's many more weeks past this first week. That's another thing too. It's not just like, we're not just trying to get through this 1 week. We're trying to have a productive month of training.
Definitely.
At least before we deload. So
turns into 2 months.
Yeah, right, exactly. So it's like, we're trying to get the best possible response. So, I guess a shot.
It's all connected a little bit.
Yeah, it's like a shot would be like, to me, a shot would be like an intensity technique. Yeah. Like, right? Like if you're not feeling buzzed at all, just take a shot or two. Just take a shot or two, and or shotgun a beer, you will feel it. Oh, just the same way that if you do a drop set. Yeah. If you cannot get a pump, do a drop set. I promise. Yeah, you will freaking feel a pump. Yeah, you will, and you will get a growth response out of it too. Yeah. Because again, these are hard sets. A lot of people act like, oh, the weight's not big enough. It's like, dude, if you are reaching where that mechanical tension point where you're trying to do reps and they start to slow down, that's enough mechanical tension to produce a growth response. No matter how much, pretty much no matter how light the weight is. I wouldn't do 50 reps of something or 100 reps, but like the research is showing equal muscle growth between like 5 to 30 reps. Yeah. This boy right here is tired as fuck. Yeah, I don't know why. He's over here. Yeah. I'm paying attention. I'm just. Well, can you cut him out? That's what I'm thinking. Because I'm like, it's not gonna look good if I'm talking. He's like,
yeah, okay. I want you on anymore. Come on, Brad. What are you doing? Okay, good.
Dude, you have an energy drink right there. I was gonna ask you, what do you think about
Gym weed.
Bro, so good.
That's Bradley Martin's energy drink.
So good.
Yeah, that's
bro.
pretty good.
That's pretty
What is it? FXT7? Is that how you say it?
FST.
Oh, my
FST7.
yeah.
What do you think about that?
I mean, I think as long as the sets are hard, like the sets are hard enough, like the seven sets at the end.
I'm picking myself up, bro.
Nice.
Yeah, okay, girl.
So, the FST, honestly, FST7, like as long as those 7 sets at the end are hard enough,
Yeah.
knock yourself out.
Yeah.
Now, granted, like there's nothing magical about 7 sets of 10.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that literally think like stuff like that. It's like,
Dude, I'm gonna grow so much from
I'm
that.
gonna grow. Yeah, it's like it's way better than 6 sets of 10 and way better than 8 sets of 10.
Yeah.
Like it's just like, well,
right in the middle.
It's like, well, it's you know, it's a way for you to allocate some volume at the end of a session, and get, you know, a good growth response, because 6 sets.
It's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Or sorry, 7 sets. Sorry,
yeah.
seven sets is a lot.
Back to back to back.
Yeah, exactly. So it's one of those things where it's like the whole Myo. Do y'all know about Myo reps?
Myo?
Myo reps, yeah, Myo reps.
No.
Like, it's basically like the concept of doing a giant set, or the concept of doing okay, you got giant sets, Myo reps, and a rest pause.
Rest pause,
Something called rest pause. Yeah,
I like rest pause.
They're all the same thing basically.
Yeah.
They just have they have different ways of thinking about them. Basically, if you get to like, if you have like a gut busting set, if you have a weight that you can do a gut busting set of 10 with. If you do like, let's say like that week you're trying to hit like some weights where you're going to like 2 reps in reserve or so. Mm-hmm. So the first set you're gonna hit 8 because you're keeping 2 in the tank. Okay, so you're gonna hit 8, and then after that initial set of 8, that rest pause is only gonna be like 20 seconds or whatever it is, just enough for you to like catch your breath to go again.
Get more reps, yeah.
Whenever you start to experience that slowing, you're still getting that almost that same growth response. Yeah. There's been studies on it that's like there's almost no difference in muscle growth.
Huh. Just from the little bit.
Just from the little bit of rest times.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy. Now, granted, the stimulus to fatigue ratio is probably not as good. If you wanted to just train doing Myo reps, you probably will get wiped out more.
Yeah.
Than if you were to like rest 4 or 5 minutes, and then do like another straight set.
Yeah, you could probably do more.
You could probably do more, and you also probably wouldn't feel so run down.
Yeah.
The next day. So like it's like, why wouldn't I just train Myo reps then? It's like if you really want, or you know, if you're really busy, and like you only have like you have to knock it out fast, like 30 minutes. If you want to hit like chest, shoulders, and triceps in the same session, you have 30 minutes, dude. A 10-minute chest session of just get on a machine press where you can just crank. You know, you don't have to worry about like, you know, is my technique like this or that or whatever. You just get on a machine press, you know, crank out a set, like load up enough weight where you can get a set of 10, and then after that you're doing like sets of 5.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you're just do sets of 5 over and over and over again for like only like 30 seconds of rest in between. As long as those reps are getting slow, you're getting some sort of a growth. You're getting the growth response out of that set. And honestly, like over the course of those 10 minutes, you had a really productive workout for not very much time. So like,
that's good.
If it's a situation, if it's ever a situation where you need to give a good session in, you know, that's not a bad idea to do that. But
There's no side effects.
No.
there is.
It was bad.
Don't do it.
It says no water retention, lean dry muscle gains, dramatic strength, lean dry muscle.
It was lean and dry. I'll give it that.
Yeah.
What I was gonna say though is the other thing that is interesting about. Do you need to check it?
Oh no, it's on.
Okay. The other thing that's interesting about like muscle growth as far as volume goes and relating it to like alcohol or any drug for that matter, is whenever you have a drug, you have a dose dependent response to that drug like we've already talked about, but also you get accustomed to said drug. Like as you get more tolerant to alcohol, you eventually, like, if you're at college for a freaking year, you're gonna be slamming 10 beers in a night. I mean, you think so easy, huh?
20 shots.
Honestly, though, you will end up tolerating a lot more than what you first started out with, and volume is no different. Whenever you start like a training cycle out, if you took like 2 weeks off of training, dude, you could get your chest sore in like, I'd probably say 4 or 5 hard sets.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're just like, dang, I got a really good, pump out of that. I got a good growth stimulus. The next week you come back, feeling stronger. Like, things are trending in the right direction, right? You're using all this biofeedback from your body. But by the end of a training cycle, like several mesocycles in a row, like your body is so used to it that it's like, by the end of it, like, you might start throwing in some drop sets. And then you'll start realizing, like, the drop sets even start working. And you're like, dude, if I can't get a pump doing drop sets, nothing's going to give me a pump. Like, I'm not getting any growth response from anything. So what you usually, what's said to do now, what's talked about in the data, is there is a such thing as your volume tolerance getting so high to where you have nothing. You're going to have to start a training cycle out so high that there's nowhere to build because you can't recover. So what ends up happening is you just take your volume down for a period of 4 weeks, or you could take it down for 4 weeks and train like low volume, or what you could do is take like a week or 2 maybe completely off.
Oh really?
Yes. Or less, or way less training. You could just go way less training, like if you wanted to like go on a family vacation, like a lot of people use that kind of deal. Like, oh, I went on vacation, took the week off, then I came back for, a week and maybe had like a couple of sessions where I just like moved around a little bit, like got some blood flow in, but it didn't do anything crazy. Then the next time you go to train, and where you were having to freaking do drop sets to get a pump, and then you couldn't even get a pump doing that, and the next thing you come back and like you do like 1 set of dumbbell presses, and you're just like,
it's crazy.
Damn, my chest is huge, like, oh my gosh, like I'm obliterated, and I mean, then you're back to responding to training again. So
that's good.
It's just the same way with alcohol. It's like it's like if you drank all fall and then you went home for Christmas break and all you're doing is hanging out with your family, and you stop drinking or whatever, and you're training with your buddies and doing all the right stuff, and then you go back to college and you just start acting like a hoodlum again, and you freaking go back into like 3 beers deep again. You're like, dang, I feel that this is a lot cheaper. So it's the same. It's the same thing. Volume is a dose. And now that people are not like acting like volume is not like a good thing. Like, it's not like they're trying to like demonize volume now. It's just like, oh my gosh. It's like, I know that you don't like the fact that hard work works, but it freaking does. Oh man, like bro, I get the same results as you do, and I train in 30 minutes. It's like
once a week.
It's like, okay, whatever. It's the point is like, if you trained for 2 hours hard, then you would get better results. It's the bottom line.
Just doing a little bit.
100%. So
yes, sir. That's a good topic.
What's next on the list?
I want to talk a little bit about diet. Like,
I better say, I need to get fucking lean, dude.
What diet do you think?
The good thing is getting lean is about the most simple thing you can do.
Yeah, that's basically like how to get shredded.
Gosh.
Is he eating?
You think it's mostly diet, cardio, like?
Yeah, it's like, I mean, you can do cardio. You can add some steps in, and that's gonna help out a lot. But at the same time, like, there are bodybuilders who got in contest shape who started eating a lot of calories. I think Lee Priest did it like this.
Oh, his diet.
His diet was atrocious in the off season.
Yeah.
But I'm not talking about his off season diet. I'm talking about whenever he switched to whenever he switched to a competition diet, he still ate a lot of calories. Really? But what he did though is he would just up his cardio until he got to the show. Until he was lean enough, he just keep on upping his cardio until it's 2 hours a day, baby. I'm doing cardio. It's dude.
Yeah, no, that is crazy.
That is crazy.
2 hours?
Yeah. I think that is correct.
My mind is all over the place.
Dude, I'm not for me, and honestly, not for people as well with a job. Most people that compete are not. That's not all they do. Yeah. So it's you're gonna have to drop some calories.
Yeah.
That's the only way to do it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What was he eating? You think 4,000?
I don't know, man. I don't know how much he was eating.
Have you ever heard of fish and rice cakes?
What?
Fish and rice cakes?
Yeah, it's
fish on rice cakes.
Apparently it gets you super lean. It's all you eat.
What is it?
People say
if it's white fish.
I've heard fish gives you a dry look.
That's been said for years. But there's nothing. Yeah. Oh, it's been said for years.
I've heard
fish
talk about it.
Thins the skin.
It
thins the skin. I don't know. I don't know what the logic is about it. I guess they think since the fish of the skin is thin that
they're gonna get
thin skin or something. I don't know. I've literally always heard that, and I'm just like,
what?
That was something that always since I was in college. I was like, dude, that makes no sense. Yeah. And back then, nobody questioned anything that if a bodybuilder said it, he was he's the freaking man.
We got to do that.
Yeah, exactly. And now it's just actually the one thing that matters is the fat as far as meat goes, it's going to be the fat content. So if chicken's really lean, then we can get the same results. The same results dieting on chicken. If you like to for example, if you like to eat chicken more than fish.
I like ground beef.
Yeah, bro, so good.
You can eat ground beef. You might have to drop your carbs enough to allow for the little bit extra fats. And
I get 96.4.
Which you're probably gonna have to eat, especially as a natural. You're probably gonna have to eat some chicken.
Yeah.
Because you're not burning calories like an enhanced guy is. They burn a lot more calories. They have a lot more muscle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, muscle?
They have a lot more muscle. They burn a lot more calories. It's a game changer for sure. The thing that I've heard about enhanced versus not in terms of getting shredded is fat loss or in terms of competing, I should say. In terms of fat loss, guys that are enhanced have it easier, but in terms of peaking properly, naturals have it easy.
Oh, really?
Because you have a lot of things making all these body weight fluctuations, like water and stuff like that.
That changes when you're on stuff.
Yeah, you have a lot. You have a lot of stuff going on. You have a lot of stuff you're figuring. And I also think that's part of the reasons why some coaches repeatedly do well in the enhanced game is because they got something figured out. I don't know what it is. Yes. Yeah. I think that there's maybe there's no secret about it. I don't really know. But they all act a lot of people try to do way too much, and that's the reason why. And I think that's probably true too. I think a lot of people probably try to do too much with it. But I also kind of wonder. I kind of wonder is there some? Yeah. What's he doing? He's clearly got something figured out.
Because I saw Chris Bumstead, his most recent Olympia. Apparently, the night before he was looking super bad. So Hani had him eat rice cakes with salt and honey on it or something like that. And apparently he looked way better.
Yeah, but that's just a example that that's an example of being flat right there. Yeah. If somebody was flat, just eat some carbs and salt, and usually you feel right out over time.
Yeah.
But it's just a lot. It's a lot more predictable for a natural guy, whereas if you have those carbs and salt that are interacting with the drugs and stuff, it's you don't know what you're dealing with. You could spill over easily, stuff like that.
I've seen where people said, Greg just said, I think he said you carb up the night before or either the day of. And some people would do it opposite, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a lot of different
ways to do it.
That. Yeah.
That's crazy how much food can affect how you look.
Right. Especially in the short term, which is really weird. And a lot of guys are like, well, I've heard people say about, peaking and stuff. They're like, well, it doesn't make that big of a difference. Like, you just have to be lean enough, which is true. I think 90% of whenever I go to local shows and stuff and I see who wins and who loses, most of the time, to me, it comes down to who is lean enough.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Who is in shape. And whenever you realize, like, the guy who wins looks a lot of times much different than the other guys. I mean, usually it comes down to just being lean, and that's about it. And I don't think it made a difference whether he peaked right or not and stuff. Yeah. But I will say this though: if you do get lean enough, there are going to be days where you look way better.
Yeah.
Like I think your body, as you get leaner and leaner, it becomes more and more sensitive to these variables. And they're like, whenever the few times where I have gotten like pretty dang lean, I will say it's night and day. There'll be like one day where I'll wake up and I'll be like, dude, I know for a fact it's not in my head.
Placebo,
No, it's not in my head because I can look back in pictures even now while I'm bulked up and fat and just not like take an objective look at it and be like, man, I look bad right here, and then I'll be like, dude, that looks crazy. It's a big difference. So,
do you think food is also like you were talking about the volume? You think you can get used to a certain volume of food you're eating?
Yeah, I mean, well, like if you're bulking and you're eventually if you get to the high end of a bulk and you've pretty much added all the mass that your body wants to tolerate and your digestion starts getting not so good. Like I don't know if you guys have ever experienced like bad acid reflux.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like stuff like that.
After eating meals and stuff.
Yeah, just after eating meals, you're just like got that little something in your throat. It just does not feel good.
Yeah.
And then you can't eat your next meal because you feel so bad. So that's usually like a telltale sign of like, okay, well, your food's been so high for so long that now you probably need to do a mini cut, not only for body fat reasons, but also just like if you can, give your digestion a break, lose some fat at the same time. It'll buy you some time. Like if you want a mini cut for like 3 weeks, I mean, that could buy you like at least 2 more months of bulking, which is good. Which is good productive training time. You can make a lot of progress in 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So I mean, that's definitely something that people, if you're trying to be as if you're trying to grow as fast as you possibly can, like mini cuts are a good tool.
Yeah.
To be able to, and the reverse is with cutting. Like if your body just starts fighting you really, really hard,
add more food.
You can add a little bit more food
for just a refeed?
Just like a diet break is kind of what people call it. You can start integrating refeeds if you want to. Usually though, in my opinion, a lot of people like overuse that stuff.
The refeeds, yeah.
A lot of people overuse it at the beginning whenever they should be focusing on losing more fat at the beginning, and then it should be one of those things like as you get closer to like a contest, or if you're doing whatever you're trying to look good for, a photo shoot or whatever, you can also use those refeeds to kind of like see how your body responds to carbs and salt.
Yeah.
And things like that, potassium and stuff, and just kind of like, just take note of things, how much you're eating of this or that or whatever, and the types of carbs that seem to, sit better on you, and stuff like that.
Like for you said potatoes is good.
Yeah, I like to eat some potatoes, but I like to eat high potassium every meal.
Oh, there's
a lot of potassium in potatoes. Yeah,
that's good.
A lot, yeah. Well, it's good for carbing up as well as the sodium.
Potassium?
Yeah. So it's a sodium potassium pump. I think it's 2 grams of sodium for every, or 2 parts sodium. Sorry, not grams. 2 parts sodium for every part potassium. So that's pretty much what you should be eating. So like if you're carbing up and your salt is like, let's say you want to have it at like 5 grams per day, which is a pretty good amount of salt
5 grams.
5 grams per day of salt, which is like twice the recommended.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which the recommended amount of salt is like
milligrams.
The recommended amount of salt is 2.5. Yeah, 2.5. That's way overblown. It's like it's like unless you have like, you know, even if you do have blood pressure problems and stuff like that, you should be just intaking a consistent amount of salt every day. Not necessarily saying like 2,500, you know, or 3,500 or whatever. It's just like just nail your 3,500. Just nail it every day. You know, if you have blood pressure problems, it's not bad for you. But regardless, what we're talking about here is carving up. So if you have 5 grams of sodium, well, you want half of that in potassium. Mm-hmm. So you want 2.5 grams in potassium.
Like bananas.
Like you could use bananas. You just have to count it with a food track. Yeah, you just track your food with a journal or something. Or Fitness Pal, wherever app you want to use. Yeah, I would just look up. I would look up the actual data of, you know, the potato that you're using, like golden potato.
I just eat rice.
Yeah, I mean, rice is a great carb, but the thing is it doesn't have any potassium in it.
Oh, really?
It doesn't have much potassium in it.
Bro, just put banana in the rice, bro.
Just put banana in the rice, bro.
Mush it up.
You would do that?
I've seen people do that.
Banana, chicken, and peanut butter.
Yep, I've seen that.
So good.
I've done that before.
With some salt
I put
and cinnamon.
I put peanut butter and cinnamon on chicken and rice.
So good, bro.
No.
It's horrible.
What? Bro,
Peanut butter and cinnamon is weird, bro. With chicken?
No. But, yeah, man. Food is definitely freaking key for sure, and being consistent with it. That is the other thing. It's just like, dude, whenever I switched from powerlifting to bodybuilding, and I started like bulking aggressively, like trying to gain a pound per week, that to me, in combination with like hard training, where I was just looking to, you know, basically try to get as many like hard sets as I could as I could recover from every week, and that amount was going up as the training cycle went over, like you know, got more and more. Those things, man, whenever I experienced that, because I used to gain a lot faster in terms of like the strength department whenever I didn't have my volume as high, because I felt better on a day-to-day basis. It's just like, I feel great. Like I could squat like 455 today. Oh no, I could squat 465 the next week. I could squat 475 the next week, you know, before I would deload. But like whenever I was training for, you know, bodybuilding, it was like, okay, I can squat 345 this week. Okay, next week, it's like, dude, oh my gosh, I'm still messed up from the last session. You know, oh man, I can maybe squeak out 350, you know, and just squeak it out and be like, oh gosh, thank God I barely got that one, you know, all right, next session, you know. And mind you, every single week I'm eating enough for my body weight to go up a pound. So by the time I'm done with the training cycle, I'm 5 pounds heavier as well.
Dude, that's good.
Yeah, exactly. So granted, like I said, the amount of strength I was gaining wasn't as much, but by the time I was done, like with a training cycle, I was night and day better, especially whenever you talk about just like stringing them together. Whenever you're talking about like long-term gains, like 6 months, I would look back on it and I'd be like, dude, I have grown so freaking much. It's crazy in comparison to whatever I was doing powerlifting. It's like, yeah, my freaking squat went up by 50 pounds, but what do I have to show for it? My quads are barely bigger. Whereas like
you showed off.
Whereas like whenever you with bodybuilding stuff, it was just like my quads were just so inflamed all the time, and I could barely progress. But at the same time, it was just like everything was fitting way tighter, way quicker. The funny thing enough is like a lot of my friends who used to know that I used to lift heavy, they thought, because this is the way people think, like they think the more you lift, the bigger you are.
Yeah.
And dude, it was funny because like I used to freaking deadlift like 550 something for reps.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I would like start, you know, really controlling my RDLs, like stretching the crap out of my, you know, glutes and hams while I was doing it. It was still hard training by anybody's standards, but not just like slinging weight.
Just,
like not just moving, not just moving weight just to move weight. And people thought like, man, he's like downsized a little bit.
Yeah.
And I knew, like because I could see in the mirror, I could see how the way everything was fitting and stuff. And I was like, to my closest friends, I was like talking to them about this new style of training, but dude, it's working. You know, like I was pretty shocked by it. And then whenever I actually cut, people were like, dude, you look way different.
Yeah.
Like good?
Way better. Yeah. It was like you grew a lot of muscle, and I was like,
yeah, dude.
I was just like, yeah, I know. And it's because I set my ego to the side.
Yeah.
Basically. I stopped worried about lifting heavy circles and started worried about like what it was doing. You know, what it was doing to my body. You know, the goal should not be to fuck the weights up. The goal should be to fuck your muscle up. And I mean, that's the way it should. I mean, I know that sounds like basic common sense to people.
A lot of people overlook it.
People overlook that. They make it way too. It's like you should keep things, you know, as simple as you can, but you know, not overly simple. But that's pretty simple. It's just like you should focus on the goal.
People overlook food a lot too. They think they need to take so much protein powder. You know that one video of Rich Piana where he's like, "Don't eat protein powder."
I will say I have experimented over the years with
protein
just dabbling with protein powder and not and stuff. And one of the things I will say is I do digest like real food a lot better, especially if I'm bulking.
Yeah.
Like I usually feel a lot better whenever I'm eating like real food.
Oh yeah. Like you digest it faster, you think?
It's weird too, because you would think a shake is just like a shake just goes down. You would think that, but like it's so weird how I'll get
like sits in your stomach.
Yeah, I'll get hungrier on real food faster.
Yeah.
Like
I think I'm the same way.
I'll get hungrier.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, man, I just ate like beef and rice, and the next thing you know, like I'll think like, oh, it's about time for my next meal again, and I'll check my clock, and I'm like, dang, I still got another hour.
It's kind of weird how
that is very weird. Very weird. But I still use shakes. They're a great convenient like.
Oh yeah. If you got a time crunch or something.
Yeah, man, you can't beat it. I mean, it's still an effective. I don't think that in terms of muscle growth, it's not an effective source of protein. I still think it's an effective source of protein.
Yeah, protein.
Protein powder. Protein powder. Yeah.
Have you seen that video? All the big bodybuilders on the beach, and Michael Hearn's there, and they're like, protein.
Yeah.
That's what he just.
Yeah.
He said protein.
Yeah, that's. But yeah, man. For a beach body.
Yeah, bro. I getting.
Dude.
Yeah, for real.
Whoa, that was unexpected. No, all right.
That's what he's thinking about.
Yeah, for sure.
Not about girls. You're trying to attract girls.
Trying to give it, not get it.
Are you talking about for girls, or are you talking
for me?
Are you talking about for girls, or you want to get respect from the bras?
Yeah. Or you can be huge, like
girls. Let's do girls for example. Girls.
Yeah, that's what I think about.
That's boring.
Okay, boss.
I'm just kidding.
Shredded.
Honestly, the main thing to be attractive to somebody else, and this goes for girls too. Honestly, this is my opinion, is to be lean.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's girls and guys. I don't think that's like different. You know.
Yeah, because other guys are like, they'll look at you and they'll be like, damn, that dude's lean. I need to get lean. They'll look at themselves and like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Just being lean and just having like, you know, it just makes usually what it does is it makes your face look a lot better whenever you're lean. But also just like your midsection. Mm-hmm. I mean, girl. It's no secret that girls like
abs.
Abs. Yeah. Arms are sick. I think arms are probably the best thing to have for like to get noticed. I would say arms and shoulders are probably the two most important. Like if you're trying to get like respect from like if you're trying to get respect from dudes as well. Anytime I think like of a jacked dude,
arms.
I think of arms and shoulders. If I see a guy, like if one of my buddies goes, oh, that guy over there is jacked.
Look at him like small.
And I look at him and he's got small arms and shoulders. It's like, dude, I will punch that guy to Mars. I'm freaking not like that guy's not jacked. No, but not really. But I mean, but whenever somebody does say the words like, that guy's jacked, I immediately think I'm gonna look over here and see some big ass arms and shoulders, and then I look over there and I might think to myself like, oh yeah, this is big arms and shoulders, or not so much. He's a thick neck. Honestly, I just feel like that's the first thing I notice. It's just like the thing that's hanging out of a tank top, or whatever. It's just like these big freaking pieces of meat, right here. I personally think those are probably the most important. Chest is probably the next most important, but I do not even think it's even close to arms. I don't even think it's close to arms or shoulders. I've seen guys that literally have like and it can be sick arms or shoulders. It could be like, especially arms for me. I guess I'm a little bit more biased to arms, but like I've seen guys with like not very good delts and freaking sick arms, and I'm like, that guy's huge. I was like, what a freaking G, and it's like, and everybody's like, he's just got big arms. I'm like, look at him, that's freaking sick, whereas like, if you got a big chest and you don't have little arm, like if you have little arms, I'm just like oh man, I'm just like I don't know, it's just not the same. I just like Frank Zane talked about that all the time. He was just like, people focus on their torso so much, and he was like, these muscle groups are already bigger than these muscle groups. So in order to build a balanced physique, he thought that you needed to focus on arms, shoulders. Which, I mean, I'm not much like, I don't think that there's really a difference between training for aesthetics or mass or anything, but I do think that, in terms of like what you notice, I think he was probably pretty spot on with that.
Arms, shoulders.
I mean, and then obviously compete, like being on a competition stage, that's a lot different too. I think a back is really important on competing. I mean, shows are one from the back. I mean, of course, So I think like even like people underrate like glute development for it because like the guys with the really strided glutes and stuff. That's what they're looking at for conditioning. That judges want to see lean glutes. And the bigger your freaking glutes are, the more they're pressing against your skin, and the more they're gonna make you look grainy, and that's what judges want to see. Not that that's what girls want to see. I don't think girls care. I don't think girls care if you have strided glutes or not.
Damn, his ass is lean.
Look at that thing. Just slap it, my hand would shatter. I don't know.
Get lean.
Yeah, just basically get freaking lean, dude. Yeah. That's the main thing. If you get lean, there's a lot of people, like if you look at movie stars and stuff, you'll like look at they look super good and stuff, and you're like, dang, that guy's pretty jacked. Yeah. And then like you see him next to somebody who's like actually a decent sized person, and you're like, that guy's a bitch. It's like, it's because he's shredded. And that's the look that 90% of people just like want. And a lot of people are capable of looking like what their like celebrity like person is that they want to look like, but they just don't want to go get that level of leanness. And like a lot of times if I tell like, especially a guy that's in bodybuilding, like, because people are so egotistically attached to like not only the weights they lift, but also their body weight. It's like people just identify with like, I'm 180 pounds, or I'm 200 pounds, or I'm 230 pounds, or whatever the weight is. they just don't want to drop below like a certain body weight.
Like
they just have a yes.
Blockage.
Yeah,
they don't even consider it.
They don't consider it. Like, dude, I'm not going. I hear people say it all the time. I'm not going below 180 this year. It's like
you can't
I'm like, why?
Yeah.
I'm like, why are you putting a cap on the number before you get there?
Yeah, some of the biggest, best physiques are like 150.
Dude, I mean, some really good physiques in natural bodybuilding are way lighter than what people would think. Dang. Way lighter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just they just look very good because they're very lean, very lean. So like a lot of times, like if you tell, it's like you want to look like your celebrity, like, you know, who you want to look like. They're like, yeah, man. I'm like, okay, you'll probably have to drop down. Yeah. You probably have to drop down to probably like 155, and they're like, they look at you like you're insane. They're like, what? Are you kidding me? I'm like, do you see how shredded he is? Yeah. I'm like, take a look at yourself now. No offense, not saying you're fat, but this guy's peeled. Okay, it's like you might have to lose another 20 pounds. This is an extreme look. It's not like something you just like walk around looking like. You don't walk down the beach and see other guys looking like this because it's not easy.
Too much dad bods on the beach.
Yeah. So I mean, a lot of people are capable of looking like who they want to look like, but they just don't want to go get that level of leanness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In my opinion, because it's like it's usually not for most guys. It's usually not the level of mass that they're looking at. Yeah. Unless you're into bodybuilding like we are, and you're freaking, mass, you're looking at the lean. You're dealing all sorts of body dysmorphia. And shit.
Damn, that's small today.
That's weird folks like us.
Yeah. Not a lot of people understand it.
No. Somebody's got to do it though.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Let's see this. Will you compete in the future, you think?
I don't know. The problem is with getting like it was like 2 years ago, I got really lean. But the problem is with getting really lean like that, in my perspective now, owning a company is like I have to, especially doing what I do, is like I have to be in a creative headspace.
Oh yeah.
A lot, and my mind has to be able to like go down these rabbit holes and be like,
think very sharply.
Yeah. Not only think very sharply, but also it's just like there's a difference between being creative and just like being like a production type person. Yeah. And I just do not think I'm going to be able to be creative. I'm going to be like, I'm not thinking about that right now.
Yeah.
Just
thinking about food.
90% of the time you're thinking about food, or either you're just like, dude, I'm just so tired. I'm not thinking about anything. Like I just don't feel like thinking about anything. I mean, that's 90% of being like really lean is it's just like just
zoning out.
Yeah, you're definitely feeling a little different for sure. So that's the problem that I have with it now. So I don't know, man. Maybe one day people have tried to tell me that like it'd be good for the brand and stuff, and I'm like, well, I want to compete. I want to try to compete because if I do, I want to compete because I want to do it. Like I just want to do it because I want to do it. But even still, like right now, even if I wanted to do it, it'd be like probably not the best time.
Do you think it would benefit the brand at all? I don't.
Yeah, the thing is natural bodybuilding is not that big, so it's like
what's that? The OSB,
OCB,
OCB,
or WMBF. I mean, the NPC started to put on natural shows.
Oh, really?
Now. Yes, I think the last year was maybe the first year they did it.
Oh, that's cool.
I think so. Like it's pretty new. So who knows, man? It could. And I think now with how like
scared people are doing.
People are getting more scared, and also more information is coming out, and people are attracted to people who are
not
doing a natural.
Easy,
Natural bodybuilding is becoming more and more. You see guys more and more now with like natural in their bio or something like that. Oh yeah. And you can tell, and you can actually tell like they're legit natural. Yeah. Like they're probably, or
like Michael Hunt has natural in his.
You can't.
Yeah, actually.
I think so.
Oh really?
I know Simeon Panda does.
He bullshit.
You know who that is?
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
I don't know.
Bro.
They all look so crazy.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people that are madly respecting natural guys right now. So
that's good.
Yeah, I think it's great. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
well, what's some of your goals for the brand?
Just to keep growing literally as fast as possible. Yeah, I don't really have anything other to say than that, I guess.
Yeah.
Nothing.
That's good, though.
Nothing specific, yeah. But try to keep on growing.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, man.
Did we talk about Sam Sulek?
No, I don't think we ever talked about him.
What's your opinion on Sam Sulek and his diet? And do you think if he competed, he would look good?
Yeah, I think it looked real good. Yeah, I think it looked real good.
Yeah.
I think it looked real good.
I think he's like 5'8".
I like his personality a lot.
Yeah.
I think everybody does.
It's cool, yeah.
Yeah, if you don't, I'm just like
you must got some problems.
Yeah, you're just like
it's gonna be jealousy.
You're
jealous. You're
jealousy. Like I've been accused before. Like I don't know, you guys, if you guys have ever been rubbed wrong about like a I'm sure you guys have. There's got to be a celebrity that you guys didn't like.
Yeah.
Like you just like told your friends like I don't like so and so, and they're like. You're just jealous. I don't know if you've been ever hit with like you're just jealous.
Yeah.
I'm just like, no, I just don't like 90% of the time. Like, no, I just don't like him. But Sam Sulek is one of those guys where I'm like, I don't see how you couldn't just like that guy. There's nothing too unlike. Yeah, there's nothing too unlike. Yeah, but there's certain guys where like I haven't, or girls I guess too probably.
Yeah.
I can't really think of anybody specific, but I know for a fact I've said before like. I don't like so and so. It's just like, oh, you must be jealous. It's like,
you're just jealous of him.
Okay, like whatever. It's not worth my time to sit here and convince you.
You could have seen something they haven't, you know.
Yeah, it's just like, for whatever reason, I just don't like something about them.
Yeah, I think you'll look good.
But I think everybody that I've talked to, and I've talked to a lot of people, everybody thinks that Sam Sulek guy is a pretty cool dude.
If you got lean.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna see him at the Arnold.
Oh yeah,
that's crazy. He's gonna be there.
Yeah,
pretty cool. You're going.
Are you gonna be getting free stuff or just turning it down?
What? How am I gonna be getting free stuff? Yeah. I don't really care about free stuff. I mean, maybe.
I mean, like, because at the Olympia they had like the little platter trays with like shots of
energy drinks on.
I had so much caffeine that day.
Bro,
good
insane.
night.
And they had alcohol there.
Really?
Yeah. What's his name? Mike.
Mincer?
No, Mike, the black hair with tattoos.
Oh yeah, bro.
Dude,
whiskey.
He was taking shots after shots, and he's like Bradley Martin's lookalike a little bit.
Yeah, whiskey there. Like whiskey.
Oh my gosh!
The gym bro,
yeah.
dude. He was standing there. He was taking shots, and he's like, "Whoa!" And he put on his sunglasses after he took a shot. And he had.
What a dude!
Isn't he like the OG gym bro?
Yeah,
like the
gym bro science.
Bro science, yeah,
bro science.
Arms, bro.
Those videos are so funny.
Yeah, they are funny. Yeah, he's a funny guy. Yeah. He's a funny guy for sure.
Yeah, bro.
No, but I mean, you also asked about his diet.
Oh, Sam Sulek? Oh yeah.
Yeah,
for him, bro. I think he's going a little bit cleaner on his diet now, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is like we've known this for a while in the science-based community. It's like. It doesn't really matter that the food is composed of like this or that. Like if the food is clean or not, that does not matter. Like in terms of body composition results. So it's like I kind of like the fact that it's come out because it's like it goes to show like there's no difference in terms of body composition results. Now there are some internally there are some different parts of food that you know.
Digestion.
Digestion, like just things like that. But that's not to say like I don't think like somebody who's trying to eat a healthy diet that they should be eating more whole foods. It's like it is better for you for sure.
Oh,
you're gonna feel better too. You're gonna feel like more energetic and stuff like that. But the thing is like it should shed light on the most important thing, which is basically how many calories you're eating.
Calories in, calories out.
Calories in, calories out should still be number one. Like even if you are eating like if you have like health issues, you say you're severely overweight, you have health issues. Most health issues come from being or overweight.
Yeah.
Yes, they stem from being overweight, essentially. And the thing is like, doctor would be like, well, don't eat any junk, don't eat saturated fats, this and that, which is like all things that could help, but also it's like, even if they kept eating the things they ate, but just scaled it back, all their health issues would go away. And they could tell their doctor, like, yeah, I did all the stuff you said. He'd be like, that's right. You know, it's like, well, I mean, if you, the main thing is calories in, calories out for like general health, but also like the way you look as well.
True.
So there's not that much, there's not that many things that is like cut and dry, but that is something that's like for sure
calories in, calories out.
Calories in, calories out. It's like a for sure cut and dry.
It's like Greg Doucette. Calories in.
Yeah.
Well, we saw Greg Doucette at the Olympia. He was wild.
Bro.
He was jumping up and down. He's like,
he must have been on something. Dude.
People were like, he's on stuff. He's like he was drunk.
I don't even know, dude.
Ian Valera was like, he commented on his post because Greg was like, he announced on his thing, he's like, we just watched the women's something, and Ian's like, that was not the women's something. It
was a completely different category.
And he's like, are you okay, bro, or something like that, and everybody was like, so funny, bro.
Yeah,
that's funny.
He's like all over the place.
I can't wait to see everybody now that I'm thinking about it. I'm like,
it's gonna be fun.
You excited?
Yeah, I'm pumped. Yeah, for sure.
See Oscar.
I'm ready to see all these freaking guys,
big names,
freaks in real life.
I think Andrew Jacked, he's huge. Larry Wills, Reagan Grimes, Brandon Curry. I think those are some of the biggest guys we saw.
Mm-hmm.
Ian, bro, Ian's big as hell too.
Yeah, I'm talking like tall.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean tall and big.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go try to meet Mike Israel, Jared Feather.
We saw them at the gym. The gym I trained at, Mike and Jared, they're training.
Is that the bald dude?
Yep, dude, and the one with the weird mohawk.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, are you gonna go to train down there?
Is Jared huge in real life?
Yeah, he's wearing a white beater, I think.
Yeah.
I think he was. Mike's short.
Are you gonna train
Mike's
when you're
short,
there?
Yeah, he's short.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess maybe.
There's probably gonna be a gym that everybody's going to.
Yeah.
All bodybuilders have to go there.
Probably train every day. Oscar probably wake us up, get ready. Come on, guys, let's go train.
Oh, Oscar's gonna be there?
He's going with us.
Yeah, he's going with us.
Oh, he's going with y'all.
Yeah, we're driving him with him.
Yeah, bro.
That's funny.
Yeah, he's gonna be like,
Come
it's
on.
6 a.m. Let's go.
Back time.
No, he's already talked about gyms he wants to go to, and he's like, we're not gonna train legs. We're just gonna train back, arms, and chest. That's it. I'm like, okay. He wants to go to the gym every day.
I'm kind of excited to see his face.
Oh,
shine, clear.
No, it's hilarious because he goes up to people and he tells people, he's like, what size is this? And they're like, 2XL. He's like, you're small. I'm wearing 3.
That's what he says?
Yeah.
At Arnold?
No, he might do. I'm gonna try to get a video.
Bro.
I'm gonna get a video of him if he does it. That's gonna go viral.
That would be funny. That is funny.
It's a good podcast.
Yeah, that's good.
Thank you for coming on, sir.
Yeah, appreciate it, bro.